In this series of fundamentals of Hinduism, today we discuss Dharma, and this will be our last talk in the series because Hindu Dharma is a very vast religion. We are just trying to present certain fundamental things about it and things we are leaving out from the discussion. I'll mention towards the end. Those of you who are truly interested can read my book, The Hindu Way, a very short book, and it's, you can say, handbook of Hindu religion. If you want to know about Hindu religion in a little more detail, then read my book, Living Hinduism. Of course, there are good books by many other authors. Today we discuss Dharma. What is Dharma? We are talking about Hindu Dharma, Hinduism. So, duties and responsibilities which require you, your individual duties towards yourself, towards your family, towards your country, towards your religion, all these things collectively are known as Dharma. However, Dharma essentially actually means the defining trait of something. So everything has a Dharma. This pen has a Dharma, an animal has a Dharma, war has a Dharma, everything has a Dharma. Defining trait. Dharma means that which holds you, that which is your defining character. What a profound definition. Now, as far as human beings are concerned, particularly Hindu religion, struggle for freedom, freedom at all levels. So, for that, first you have to be a noble person, then you have to be a religious person, and finally, a spiritual person. The knowledge of Dharma comes, according to Hindu traditions, from your own conscience, conscience that is pure, where there is no selfishness. It also comes from traditions, the local traditions, the family traditions, and sacred texts. It means the texts that you consider sacred. These sacred texts, as we had mentioned earlier, they have to comply with the spiritual philosophy of the Vedas. But when it comes to defining dharma, one must not depend on one's mind. It's prohibited. Nowadays, you'll find that those who have studied a bit, they try to give their own definitions. No, that's not. It's not permitted. And neither you should go to a teacher who has not been brought up in Hindu traditions. Sometimes nowadays, people keep on running towards this person, that person, who have not been brought up in Hindu tradition. So it's unfair. In ancient times, it was said that if you practice dharma, it brings you punya, merit. It results in prosperity in this life and a better afterlife. Said that once a person dies, only his punya goes with him. Whereas adharma, if you are not acting in consonance with the righteousness as prompted by your conscience, by the traditions, by the scriptures, it's like a slow poison. It doesn't destroy you instantly. It takes time to burn. Because you have punya coming from the past, so slowly it destroys you. He says that it destroys you, destroys your family, your offsprings. Say that happy is the person who lives by dharma. If your conscience is clear, you live happily. Whereas if you don't live by dharma, you become sad, you become depressed, anxious, at times vicious. Misery, that is bad times. It hits a religious person, a good person, one who follows dharma. And it also hits people who do not follow dharma. However, people who follow dharma, they get strength by practicing dharma and they can withstand misery. But people who are not living by dharma, they cannot. So, when we look at the universal Dharma is about to be free, to go beyond time and space forever, and also to lead others towards that freedom. Now, this is known as spirituality when you are striving for freedom. Says there are many ways you can attain spirituality. You cannot say that there is only one path. There can be many paths. However, the fundamental remains that you need to go beyond your ego. And of course, you will have to depend on what the scriptures say. You just cannot define religion according to your understanding. You cannot define God according to your understanding. Then, as far as true spirituality is concerned, God alone exists. That's the ultimate truth. God alone exists. If you really want to be one with that, you have to sacrifice the lower for the higher. You cannot remain identified with I, me, mine. From there, you have to move on to you alone exist. Oh God, you alone exist. What exactly is duty? That is dharma we are discussing. Duty means sacrifice. And ancient sages have very clearly defined what is sacrifice. Higher sacrifice is when you sacrifice everything for the self. That means for self knowledge. Then comes sacrifice for the humanity, nation, locality, workplace, family, and finally oneself. That means, in the scheme of things, if you go all out for God realization, you don't have to worry about anyone. Otherwise, first you need to think about humanity, then you need to think about nation. Sometimes you'll find that some groups they fight only for their supremacy. It's not dharma. Hindu religion will say, no, you are not following dharma because humanity is the highest dharma. Below that is nation. Below that is locality. Then is your community. This is where Hinduism differs from other religions because for other religions, their community becomes very important, which in Hindu religion comes much below. How to be how to reach to those levels. Earlier it was mentioned that creation comprises sattva, rajas, tamas. These three qualities you will find in everything, every person, every object. When there is tamas, a person becomes sloth. He also becomes vicious. When he is more into rajas, he becomes power hungry, but he's also energetic. And when there is more of sattva, he becomes restrained, peaceful, and knowledge loving. Apparently, tamas and sattva appear similar, but there is major difference. Tamasic people are not knowledge loving, sattvic are. So, what you eat, what you drink, what you think, all these things affect your thought process, can make you tamasic, can make you sattvic, can make you rajasic. You need to be very careful. Now, here we are giving you only the fundamentals, so we will not explain everything. Nobility means you need to acquire more of sattva. When we talk about dharma, it means you you first get established in sattva and from there aspire for freedom. And to be spiritual means you're not aspiring, you're now aspiring to go beyond everything. Nothing else remains. So dharma is the early stage. Dharma is characterized by rules, regulations, etc. But in spirituality, you go all out. So dharma is usually practiced while staying active in this worldly life. But in spirituality, core spirituality, all activities stop. In Hindu religion, there is nothing secular, nor there is anything profane. They are mere acts. So, the goal of Hindu religion, as we mentioned earlier also now, first be noble, and then be religious, and then be spiritual. When you want to practice what Hindu religion has to say, you cannot practice everything. But the little that you practice will make you great. Now, in this small book, The Hindu Way, we have codified what are the Hindu practices, what are the Hindu rituals. Some of these we have discussed in this series of talks. And also, what are the spiritual practices that make one free. So, here we end, and this was, I think, 11th talk. In these 11 talks, we have given you some idea about what Hindu religion is. And if you want to know more, you have to read the source books. The Hindu Way is a very good book, and I wrote it for Hindus of modern times, for whom lots of things have changed from as compared to the past. So, thank you. I pray that you all be very good Hindus and know something about Hindu religion. Thank you so much.